Chapter 5, A Tiny Pink Nose. Mom set the box on the kitchen table. Is it sleeping? Bat asked, his voice a whisper. Probably, Mom said. Babies sleep most of the time. What is it? Janny asked. Bat, do you want to open the lid? But Bat didn't answer. He was too excited. Very carefully, he lifted the lid of the box and peered inside. Janny stood behind him, breathing on his ear. You're breathing on my ear, Bat said. Janny just ignored him. Is it a bunch of rags? She asked. Mom walked around to the far side of the round table and reached into the box. She scooped up a pile of materials and sat it down. Look. Bat watched as Mom shifted the towel in her arms. A nose peeked out, a tiny pink nose, and then two slanted closed eyes, a forehead covered in downy fuzz, little ears still curled tight against its head. Janny began. It's a kit, Bat said, enchanted by the tiny creature, wanting so badly to hold it. A baby skunk. Oh, Mom, Janny said, I can't believe you brought home a skunk. I had to, Mom said, rubbing the skunk's little forehead with her thumb. He's an orphan. Oh, breathed Janny. She leaned in closer, blocking Bat's view. Well, how old is he? You're in my way, Bat said loudly, and he pushed Janny's arm to make room for himself. Bat, Mom said, you need to stay calm around the skunk, okay? You don't want to scare him. Bat did not want to scare the skunk kit. He wanted to hold the skunk kit, maybe even feed and care for the skunk kit. But his sister was standing in his way. Move, Janny, he hissed at her as quietly as he could. Why don't you both sit down, Mom said. I'll tell you all about him. Janny plopped down into the chair on Mom's right, so Bat went around to the other side and sat in the chair on her left. He scooted his chair as close to Mom as he could. The kit was still tucked into the towel, only his little face visible. Eyes closed, he opened his mouth in a yawn, his tiny pink tongue arching out. Mom said, Bat, do you remember when we smelled that skunk on the way to school this morning? Bat did remember. They had smelled it just after they pulled off their street, Plum Lane, and onto Aronson Road. He had smelled it, and Mom had smelled it too. But he had craned his neck, looking at each window carefully. So that is Janny, the mom, and Bat looking at the little baby skunk kit. He'd seen lots of people on bicycles. They lived near a college, and the students mostly rode bikes to class. And he'd seen other cars, and some people on foot. It was the beginning of spring. It was still cold, so he had seen lots of hats and scarves. He'd seen an American flag on a flagpole in front of the post office. He'd seen a red bus. He'd seen a sign that read, Welcome to Quincy, a bike-friendly town. But he had not seen a skunk. Bat nodded. I remember, he said. Well, unfortunately, the skunk we smelled but didn't see was the mama skunk. A car hit her, and a couple of college students brought her to my office in a basket with a bike. She was there waiting for me, and I dropped you off at school. Injured and very pregnant. Is she okay? Janny asked. I wish I could say she is, Mom answered. I wasn't able to save the mother or the other baby kits. Only this one lived. I was able to check the mother for diseases, and luckily she wasn't sick, which is a good sign that the kit isn't sick either. That's awesome, Bat said. Bat, said Janny, loud and sharp. The kit twitched and shifted, scared by Janny's voice. How can you say that's awesome? The mom died, and the other babies died. Bat didn't mean that was awesome, that the skunks had died. Of course that wasn't awesome. He meant that it was awesome that this kit had lived. But it wasn't worth it trying to explain this to Janny. She usually misunderstood Bat. Most everyone did. Can I? Bat reached out for the kit, wanting so badly to hold him with his fingers. We can't keep him, Mom warned. There's a wild animal rescue center that we can give him to in about a month, but they're too busy to take him just yet. So we can help him get bigger and stronger before we hand him over to the experts. They'll raise him until he's ready to be released into the wild when he's about 5 months old. Then she passed the tiny kit, wrapped in towels, into Bat's arms. The kit was so small that Bat couldn't even tell he was in the towel except for his tiny face that had peeked out. He cradled the bundle in his arms. He felt his face stretch into a wide smile, so wide it made his cheeks sore.